Family cook? Or you
My
just
family in
chef it?
Chicago, man.
Bring
My
us to LA.
family is from Chirac. I'm in Los Angeles.
Boy. On phone them grade, no. I got 4 watches, 4 chains.
Catch up boy on 4. No, I got 4 watches, 4 chains. That was the energy coming out of the clip when Chief Keef's cousin Tado suddenly showed up back in Chicago. Ice everywhere, chains shining, watches stacked on his wrist like trophies. And the message wasn't just about jewelry either. The tone felt like a warning to anyone thinking about testing him. For years, people said Keef would never return to Chicago.
Tell him, man. Sosa's finna perform in a riot. It's been like, what, 10 years?
The last time a close family member came back to the city, things ended in tragedy right out on the sidewalk. 10 shots fired, no arrests ever made. The situation shook everyone around him, and Keef was furious at the time. Then years later, a lyric from King Von suddenly brought the old tension back into the spotlight when he rapped, "My homie think I killed his cousin. Well, oh well." That line alone had fans arguing nonstop online.
Nah, we finna pop out her, get it bossing on Folsom Grade.
Fast forward to late February 2026, when a short clip suddenly hit Instagram and spread across every drill page on the internet like wildfire. The man in the video was Tado, real name Darren Rose, Chief Keef's cousin, and a longtime Glow gang member who has been around since the early days. The moment the video dropped, people knew this wasn't just another random post. In the clip, Tado appeared to be standing somewhere on Chicago's South Side, rocking streetwear and adjusting his hat while staring straight into the camera. Then he started showing off what he had on him. Multiple chains, hanging heavy.
Guns down, but keep them on, y'all, folks. Push a piece, folks, but folks, we pushing heat, yo. Play your
Luxury watches flashing under the light, and enough jewelry to make the whole frame sparkle. The line that spread everywhere came directly from the video. Tado said, "I got 4 watches, 4 chains. Play me your on die." That quote got reposted over and over across drill pages. In some versions of the clip, he even added a message aimed straight at 6-0, a rival Gangster Disciples affiliated group connected to O-Block and figures like Lil Durk. In that version, he said, "Anybody from 6-0, I'm back." Not "I might slide through," not "I'll visit soon," just "I'm back." Present tense, standing right there, jewelry out, speaking like the city was already watching. Within hours, the clip exploded across Instagram reels on pages like My Mixtape Is, Daily, Hip Hop on Demand, Squid Ape TV, and Poetic Flacco News. Facebook pages like Plug Sounds pushed it even further, while reposts on X sent the clip racing across timelines.
Yo, get put in that suitcase on Folsom Grade. They gonna find your bodies in other states.
Thousands of views turned into tens of thousands within hours. For the past several years, Tado had been spending most of his time out in Los Angeles with Keef and the rest of the Glow Gang circle. Even though he had visited Chicago before, this video felt different to people watching it. The way it was filmed made it look like a full return, like someone planting their flag again in neighborhoods where Glow Gang history runs deep. But that first video was only the beginning. Soon after, a longer clip surfaced online, and this one made the message even louder. Tado and several people around him were on camera, hyped up and speaking straight into the lens about what Glow Gang was about to do now that they were back in Chicago after being away for years. The number everyone kept repeating was 10 years. A full decade since Chief Keef packed up and moved away from Chicago. A decade since the city's drill scene went through wave after wave of violence. A decade where Glow Gang mainly operated from the West Coast. Now suddenly, Tado was standing on Southside pavement again, telling the internet that the waiting period was finished. When he said they were finna pop out, people in the drill community understood exactly why that line caught attention. This wasn't just a random artist talking online. This was someone tied directly to Keef, standing in a city where several members connected to that movement had already lost their lives.
The catch up, boy. On phone them grade, no. I got 4 watches, 4.
Every word in that clip got replayed again and again. The message drew a clear line. Others might push a peaceful image, but Tado made it sound like Glow Gang was moving different. The way he talked made it seem like anyone trying to challenge them would already be too late before they even realized it. Nothing about the video sounded coded or hidden. It looked like a straight declaration filmed on camera and posted online for everyone to see, all happening in a city where many of the people connected to the story are no longer around. At one point, the talk even turned darker, with a line about putting people in suitcases and bodies ending up in other states. Statements like that are the kind that quickly grab headlines if anything serious ever happens later. Supporters in the comments didn't seem worried at all. Many treated it like entertainment, reposting the clip and joking about it. One fan even wrote that folks probably already had suitcases ready, like it was a punchline. instead of something serious. But Chicago isn't just another city on a map. When a place averages hundreds of homicides every year, words like that can land very differently depending on who is listening and what side of the story they are standing on.
Put your in the car, get your ass dropped off.
Get your ass
fold your up like this, folks, and put your suitcase. You play, they gonna find your ass. No rap, folks. Stop playing.
He said it again on camera. Fold you up, put you in the suitcase, get you dropped off. The line wasn't said once and forgotten. He repeated it, slowly and clearly, like he wanted everybody watching to hear it twice. This wasn't some vague metaphor or coded rap talk either. This was a man standing in one of the most dangerous cities in America, looking straight into the lens and repeating the same threat so nobody could twist the meaning. Then he tied everything back to the name that started it all, Glow Gang, the movement built around Chief Keef, the same crew that helped push drill music from Chicago streets to the entire world. Tado wasn't moving like a solo act in that moment. Every word sounded like he was representing the same flag Keef raised years ago, and that carries weight. Glow Gang history is tied to the same Southside neighborhoods where people connected to the crew have been attacked, ambushed, and lost their lives. So when someone steps back into that environment, wearing the name proudly, people pay attention real fast. Online reactions split into two different camps almost instantly. Some Glow Gang supporters loved the energy, saying it reminded them of the wild confidence Chief Keef showed in the early drill days. To them, it looked like the old spirit of the movement coming back. Others were not impressed at all. Critics called the whole thing reckless, saying the video felt more like risky internet theater than a smart move. Some comments were blunt and harsh, warning that acting fearless in Chicago can attract the wrong kind of attention fast.
Y'all love Chicago though. You know that. We finna rock this. We still out here on full some bread. We started.
Then came the jokes. People started comparing the clip to comedy sketches, questioning the flashy jewelry, and mocking the suitcase talk as over-the-top internet drama. Memes spread just as fast as the original video. But underneath the jokes, the hype, and the arguments, one comparison kept showing up everywhere. Every comment section, every repost, every discussion thread. And it was the one comparison that should make anyone pause for a second. The last time a cousin of Chief Keef came back to Chicago showing success, money, and attention, the story ended in tragedy before the night was even over. His name was Blood Money, and his story is one of the biggest reasons Chief Keef left Chicago and never truly returned. To understand why people keep bringing his name up, you have to go back to the early drill era. Keith Cozart, better known as Chief Keef, came out of Parkway Gardens on Chicago's South Side and turned drill music into a global sound. Songs like I Don't Like and Love Sosa exploded in 2012 and made him one of the most recognized young rappers in the world before he was even old enough to legally drink. Around that same time, he launched Glow Gang, originally called Glory Boys Entertainment. The crew included family members, close friends, and longtime affiliates connected to the O-Block area. It was more than a label. It was a whole circle built on loyalty and shared history.
Let the family cook? Or you just
My family in
chef it?
Chicago, man.
Bring
My
it to LA.
family is from Chirac. I'm in Los Angeles.
Drew a hard line.
By 2013, the pressure around Chicago had become intense. Violence around the drill scene kept escalating, and Keef eventually relocated to Los Angeles to build his career somewhere safer. For a moment, it looked like several members of his circle might follow him out of the city. One of those people was his second cousin, Mario Hess, better known as Blood Money. Some people in the circle even called him Big Glow.
Maybe chilling in Iraq, man.
Yeah.
I'm chilling when I got chefs in LA. They
Chicken
come
out.
do what I want them to do. Whatever I
Okay.
say, they be.
That's that.
Oh, fuck.
Born February 13th, 1984, he was about 10 years older than Keef and carried himself differently than the younger artists around him. Where Keef was the superstar face of the movement, Hess was known as someone helping hold things together behind the scenes. He was a father of 5 with a complicated past, including felony convictions tied to narcotics and weapons. But at that point in his life, he was trying to turn things around through music and business.
Though. Yeah, I think it's with Chief Keef, I think it's just like niggas was trying to make him do something that he didn't want to do.
Hess started building real momentum inside the Glow Gang camp. He appeared on the 2013 Glow Gang mixtape Drug War and worked directly with Keef on the track Rehab, which later pulled in over 13 million views online. Behind the scenes, he was also mentoring younger artists and helping guide them through the industry. The music world was beginning to notice. Then in early 2014, Hess signed a deal with Interscope Records, the same label Chief Keef was working with. The deal reportedly included a $50,000 advance. For someone from West Englewood with his background, that kind of opportunity could completely change a life.
Like pay for somebody bail or something.
I seen that.
And they were saying he got all his money, but like
All that
I
money
feel
was
Chief
y'all
Keef
money.
though. He probably
to never look back.
His manager, Ronaldo Ruben Hess, who was also his cousin, had a clear plan. Get the deal finalized, secure the money, and move him out of Chicago permanently. Hess had already been spending time in Los Angeles with Keef, recording new music. And things finally looked like they were lining up. But then something happened that many people from tough neighborhoods understand. When someone finally gets a break and starts winning, the first instinct is often to go back home and celebrate with the people who watch the struggle. So Hess returned to Chicago. He wanted to celebrate birthdays with family members and share the moment with the people who knew him long before the record deal. He went back to the same blocks where he had spent most of his life.
And you see what happens to the ones that didn't leave. Now they still getting caught up. Like,
Pop Smoke
or
left.
dead.
They got his ass all the way over there.
Family members later told reporters that Hess seemed uneasy before everything happened, almost like he felt tension building around him. His manager had warned him to stay away from Chicago and remain in Los Angeles, but Hess still made the trip. The hard reality about leaving a neighborhood like Englewood is that success does not make someone invisible. In some cases, it does the opposite. It makes people stand out even more. Hess had been posting online, showing that the record deal was real and that money was finally coming in. In neighborhoods where many people are struggling to survive, that kind of visibility can draw attention quickly. One neighbor later told reporters something that stuck with many people. They said Hess wasn't too good for the hood, even after getting his deal.
Lost a lot of friends to violence, huh? Mention some of the names. Let's give them a space right now that you've lost to violence.
That single quote revealed a lot about how some people around him were looking at his rise. Because in environments like that, success can sometimes bring pride, but it can also bring jealousy. And the tension around him was real, and the clock started ticking the moment he stepped back into the city. On the night of April 9th, 2014, around 9:45 p.m., Mario Hess was outside a family home near 56th and Elizabeth in West Englewood. He was with relatives, celebrating, talking, just spending time on the block where he grew up. For a moment, it looked like a normal night. Then everything flipped in seconds. Reports say possibly 2 gunmen approached and suddenly opened fire with semi-automatic weapons, sending a wave of bullets through the street.
Cousin, Bud, my brother, Cap, Couple, Marvin, OD, White, Platoon.
More than 24 rounds were fired in a matter of seconds. The attack was fast and brutal. Hess was hit up to 10 times, mostly in the chest and torso, and collapsed on the sidewalk. Another man, a 28-year-old relative believed to be his cousin, Darnell Patton, was also struck in the abdomen. He survived after emergency surgery, but the scene left everyone shaken. When police arrived, the block was already in chaos. Investigators had to place index cards on the ground to mark the shell casings because there were too many for the normal evidence markers. More than 24 casings were scattered across the concrete. No firearms were recovered at the scene. Witnesses were almost impossible to find. That part of West Englewood operates under a code where people rarely speak to investigators. The no-snitch culture runs deep on those blocks, and silence is often the rule rather than the exception. Hess was rushed to John H. Stroger Jr. Hospital, but he was pronounced dead shortly after arriving. He was 30 years old, a father of 5, just weeks away from leaving Chicago permanently.
Keita, Lil Mo. There's a lot of guys.
Did you just feel that loss of your friends?
It's been felt.
Instead of boarding a flight out of the city, he ended up in a hospital morgue. Police opened an investigation and explored several possible motives. One angle focused on conflicts connected to Chicago's drill scene. At the time, Glow Gang had tensions with multiple rival groups across the South Side, including factions tied to the Gangster Disciples and other neighborhood crews. There were also stories circulating about an earlier incident where Hess allegedly shot an O-Block affiliate known as C Murder during a robbery connected to Keef's home. In neighborhoods like that, situations like that can create long memories and unresolved grudges. Other people believe the motive was much simpler: jealousy. A man from the neighborhood finally getting real money, signing a record deal, and coming back home with success can draw attention fast.
What did you do with those feelings?
Take them and say, "Here, you want me to laugh this out?"
Whether it was old conflicts or envy, the result was the same. No one was arrested. The case eventually went cold. After his death, rival rappers began mentioning his name in songs almost immediately. FBG Wooski referenced him in his Computers remix, turning the tragedy into a diss line aimed at the Glow Gang camp. In the drill scene, that harsh reality is part of the culture. Names of the fallen sometimes become lyrics in someone else's track. And just like that, Mario Hess, Blood Money, Big Glow, went from a rising artist with a record deal to another name connected to Chicago street violence. The man who was supposed to leave the city behind became another funeral for the community. That moment changed how Chief Keef looked at Chicago forever. Now fast forward the timeline and compare it to what just happened with Tado. In 2014, Blood Money returned to Chicago after signing a record deal and receiving a $50,000 advance. Within hours of celebrating with family, he was ambushed and killed. In 2026, Tado shows up back in Chicago wearing 4 watches and 4 chains, speaking boldly on camera, calling out rivals by name, and repeating lines about putting people in suitcases. The similarities are impossible to ignore. One situation from the past, another unfolding in the present. The only unknown is whether history decides to repeat itself. For Chief Keef, the news of Blood Money's death hit like a wall of concrete. This was not some distant acquaintance. This was his second cousin, family, someone he personally brought into the music business and helped move to Los Angeles to escape the dangers of the streets. Despite all those efforts, the streets still pulled him back in the moment he returned to Chicago. Keef's grandmother, Margaret Cozart, later revealed a conversation Keef had with Hess before the record deal even happened. According to her, Keef told his cousin clearly that they were not going to rob or steal anymore. He said, "We're not going to rob, we're not going to steal. I got a plan." That plan was music. Music was supposed to be the exit route, and for a while it worked, until Hess went back to Chicago. Keef attended Blood Money's funeral under heavy police presence. After that moment, he made a decision that shaped the rest of his life. He was finished with Chicago. The killing was not an isolated incident either. Only weeks earlier, in March 2014, gunfire had struck the home of Keef's manager. 2 violent incidents targeting people in his circle in such a short time made the message clear. Being connected to Chief Keef in Chicago came with serious risks. In an August 2015 interview with Billboard, Keef described losing Blood Money as a huge life lesson. Not a simple mistake, a painful lesson written in reality with permanent consequences. By June 2014, Keef had already been evicted from a home in Highland Park near Chicago, which pushed him to complete his move to Los Angeles. But the relocation was not just about finding a new house. It was about cutting ties with an environment he believed could eventually destroy him. He even described Chicago as the city of hella haters, repeating a phrase Kanye West once used. Instead of staying tied to the same cycle, Keef started rebuilding his life on the West Coast. He spent time collecting art, including pieces by artist Billy the Butcher, focused on raising his children, and continued building his career through music and Glow Gang ventures. Over time, he built an estimated net worth around $10 million. The change did not happen overnight, but people around him noticed the difference. In interviews, Keef was very clear about why he left. Chicago was where many of his friends and family remained, but he chose to live somewhere else entirely. He drew a hard line between those two worlds. That attitude showed up again in multiple interviews and clips over the years. Keef explained that leaving Chicago likely saved his life. According to him, the environment he grew up in pulled people into trouble constantly, and moving to Los Angeles forced him to grow up and think differently. He admitted that when he was younger, he spent a lot of time in the streets because the music money was coming in fast. But leaving Chicago gave him space to mature, focus on his future, and develop beyond the chaos that surrounded him. In the same 2015 Billboard feature tied to his Bang 3 era, Keef said the move to Los Angeles helped him stay away from constant trouble. The distance gave him room to work, raise his kids, and keep building his brand. In several interview clips later shared online, he also said something very direct. Leaving Chicago helped him avoid ending up dead or locked in prison. To him, the contrast was simple. Chicago represented danger. Los Angeles represented opportunity. People close to him saw the same reality. The streets often expect loyalty, financial support, and involvement in neighborhood politics. But Keef stepped away from all of it. He moved nearly 2,000 miles away and built a life outside that pressure. And as the years passed, the proof of that decision became visible in the worst possible way. Many people who stayed around the same environment kept getting caught up in violence, arrests, or funerals. Each new loss only reinforced Keef's belief that leaving was the right move. But even after he left, Chicago did not completely let him go. City officials eventually placed an informal ban on him performing there, arguing that his music could attract violence. In 2015, Chief Keef tried to organize a hologram benefit concert in Chicago. He was not even planning to show up physically. The idea was simple. He would perform as a projection from another state while raising money for a cause. But Mayor Rahm Emanuel's office shut it down anyway, citing public safety concerns. Think about that for a second. A man tried to perform as a hologram from hundreds of miles away, and the city still said no. Police scrutiny, old legal issues, and constant controversy kept Keef away from Chicago for years. Even some of his own affiliates, like 600 Breezy, later said Keef made the smart decision by leaving and never looking back. The warning signs were visible long before he moved away. Back in 2012, while still a teenager, Keef was already talking about how dangerous his environment had become. In a Chicago Tribune interview that year, the 16-year-old rapper said the city had too much violence and too much hatred. At that age, he was already describing the exact cycle that would later take the life of his cousin. Years passed, and distance changed him. In a 2024 Grammy.com interview before releasing Almighty So 2, Keef said he was better now than I ever was, crediting maturity and growth that came from leaving Chicago behind. That same year, he finally performed in the city again at the Lyrical Lemonade Summer Smash in June 2024. It was his first Chicago show in more than a decade. In those 12 years, entire waves of drill artists had risen and disappeared. Despite the distance, Keef never forgot the people he lost along the way. He dedicated music to Blood Money, used his cousin's photo as a profile picture on birthdays, and mentioned him in tributes across social media and songs. Every reference was a reminder of why he chose to stay away, and Blood Money was only one name on a long list. When Keef was asked in an interview to name people he had lost from the streets, the names came out fast, one after another, like shell casings hitting the ground. No pauses, no long explanations, just a list. Because the list was that long, many people connected to his circle had been killed over the years. Some were artists, some were friends, and some were people whose names never reached headlines. But every loss pushed the same message deeper into Keef's mind. Chicago kept taking people away. That is the background behind Tado's viral clip. Every watch on his wrist, every chain around his neck, every bold statement about rivals, all of it is happening in a city where members connected to Glow Gang have already been lost. And then another twist entered the story, years after Blood Money's death. For a long time, the case stayed unsolved. No arrests, no confirmed suspects, and no clear answers. But in 2022, a wave of allegations started spreading through the drill community that completely changed the conversation. O-Block affiliate J Hood publicly claimed the people responsible were not random rivals. According to him, the shooters were Troy T. Roy Blythe and Davon King Von Bennett. His exact words were that T. Roy and Vaughn killed that dude no matter what they was. The claim introduced a darker idea often mentioned in street conversations, the possibility of a backdoor. In that language, being backdoored means being betrayed by someone close, someone inside the same network or circle. The implication from those allegations was shocking. It suggested Blood Money may not have been targeted by distant enemies, but by people who were once connected to the same environment. Here is why the situation exploded like a grenade in the drill world. King Von and Chief Keef were once seen as cool with each other. In 2019, they were even spotted together in a studio session, working on music and looking like they were on the same side. Both had connections to the same O-Block circles. But if the claims from J Hood were true, the story becomes much darker. The allegation suggests Von could have been involved in the death of Keef's own cousin while still being around Keef in music spaces. That idea is what people in the streets call a backdoor, smiling in someone's face while hiding something deadly behind the scenes. Fans also started revisiting one of Von's lyrics. In the track Evil Twins, he rapped, "My homie think I killed his cousin. Well, oh well." For years, listeners debated what that line meant. If the homie was Keef, and the cousin was Blood Money, some people believe Von was hinting at something much bigger. In drill culture, lyrics often blur the line between music and real life. Rappers sometimes talk about street situations directly in song, and fans analyze every word. That is exactly why the line kept resurfacing whenever the Blood Money story came up. There were also rumors about motive. Some people claimed Blood Money had previously shot an O-Block affiliate known as C Murder during a robbery connected to Keef's home. If that story was true, it would have created serious tension between the two sides. According to the allegations, people from O-Block would have had a reason to retaliate. The theory says the attackers had proximity and access, which is what makes a backdoor so dangerous. The threat comes from someone you never expected. Then things got even messier years later. When Chief Keef collaborated with NBA YoungBoy, the move sparked huge arguments online. YoungBoy's affiliate Lil Tim was the person responsible for the shooting that killed King Von in 2020. Because of that connection, some people in the O-Block camp saw Keef working with YoungBoy as a betrayal, but others flipped the question the other way. If the rumors about Blood Money were true, then why would Keef stay loyal to O-Block at all? In February 2026, Keef made a move that people immediately noticed. He changed his profile picture to Blood Money's photo. No caption, no explanation, just the image of his cousin. Some Glow Gang affiliates went even further. King Yella publicly claimed Von had backdoored Keef's cousin, while another affiliate said Glow Gang no longer had any connection to O-Block. At that point, the divide between the camps looked permanent. Keef's music also fueled speculation. Fans pointed to lyrics from the song Avoid That Boy, where lines seemed to reference old conflicts and losses. Listeners began connecting the words to the larger story and trying to decode the meaning. Still, not everyone agrees with the rumors. Members of Blood Money's family and people connected to Front Street have said the actual shooter died years ago and had nothing to do with Von. Others have called the entire theory internet speculation that grew out of control. The truth is that outside of the people directly involved, nobody knows exactly what happened. In Chicago, many cases stay unsolved for years, leaving space for rumors and competing stories. But those rumors have definitely changed how the drill community views the relationships between these camps. And that brings everything back to Tado in February 2026. He is standing on those same Chicago blocks, wearing 4 watches and 4 chains, speaking loudly and calling out rivals by name. The same city that already saw losses connected to Glow Gang, Blood Money, Capo, Trey Savage, and many others. Years ago, Blood Money returned to Chicago to celebrate and was killed on a sidewalk. Now another member of the same family is back in the city, making noise and drawing attention again. The big question now is simple. Has anything really changed? Or is the same cycle about to repeat itself? If you want more breakdowns like this, make sure you like the video, share it, and subscribe for more stories from the drill scene.